This is problem number 4 from section 2.4 homework. This is a real world situation word problem, and that means we have to start really paying attention to whether our answers are reasonable or not. Okay, so let's read the question. Remember, our first part of any word problem is to read the problem and see if we understand what we're being asked to do. The U.S. Senate has 100 members. After a certain election, there were 10 more Democrats than the Republicans, with no other parties represented. So we don't have to worry about independents or Green Party or Libertarians or anything else. How many members of each party were there? So what I get on my first read through is I know the total number of senators, I know the relationship between the number of Democrats and Republicans, and I'm asked how many of each. I don't have to get more than that on my first read through. Okay, so let's just start organizing what we know. I know that the total number of senators is 100. I know that I only have Democrats and Republicans. So what that tells me is that the number of Democrats plus the number of Republicans is going to equal 100. Now I need more information. I need to get better equation, but this is my general plan. If I can find a way of talking about the number of Democrats and the number of Republicans, I would add them together and get 100. Okay, so I've kind of used that right now. There were 10 more Democrats than Republicans. Okay, I need a way in math of talking about how many of each I have. So for my Democrats and Republicans, I need to let one of these equal X, and it is workable either way, okay? Well, what I tend to do anyway, is I ask myself, okay, which of these has the least? Well, there were 10 more Democrats than Republicans. So I'm gonna let my X equal Republicans. There are 10 more Democrats than Republicans, so whatever this number is, I'm gonna add 10 to it to find out the number of Democrats. Okay, now just as an aside, do not let this mess you up. You can ignore this if it messes you up. If I had let the number of Democrats equal X, then I would have 10 fewer Republicans and I would set up with the X minus 10. Yes, as you work the problem, you're going to get a different value for X, but your X is standing for different things, so you would expect to get different values. I'm going to mark this out because that's not the way I've chosen to work this problem, but I do want to make sure that you realize it is a choice. Okay, so I'm going to put the number of Democrats in parentheses so I can remember that it works as a unit. Now, doing this took care of this bit of information. Now I'm going to use this. This is my general plan. The number of Democrats, which is X plus 10, plus the number of Republicans, which is X, has to equal 100. Now, I have a 1 in front of here. The parentheses are just to help you see that X plus 10 belongs to the Democrats. Mathematically, the parentheses don't mean anything here. So this is the same as X plus 10 plus X is equal to 100. X plus X is 2X plus 10 is equal to 100. Okay. Now to get the 2X by itself, I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. And that gives me 2X is equal to 90. Okay. Now, if I divide both sides by a 2, I get that X is equal to 45. Okay, so we've done the hard part. We set up our equation, we got it solved. Now we have to make sure that we're answering the question they ask. They ask how many members of each party were there? What have we found? We found X, and X is the number of Republicans. So I found that we have 45 Republicans. Now how do I find out how many Democrats? Well, that's Republicans plus 10. So Democrats is going to equal 45 plus 10, which is 55. 5 Democrats. Okay, this is fairly easy to check. You can see that they add back up to 100. You can see that there are 10 more Democrats than Republicans. You also want to ask yourself if your answer is reasonable. I could not get a negative number here. We can't have a negative number of politicians. We can't have half a politician either, so fractions and decimals are out. I also know that I have a maximum of 100 members. If my calculations told me that there were 104 Republicans, I would know I had a problem because it's too big for the overall problem. Okay? Just be aware of that. These are your answers.